Kamala Harris, why is she in my DM? Huh? She stay in my DM. Oh, y'all be thinking I'm playing. I'm not playing. Kamala Harris. She in my DM, bitch.
Hello. What's up, everybody? It's your boy AT2. Let me go ahead and pin the link. I just want to let you guys know I will be roasting Genesis, but Genesis is aware that I am doing this video. Genesis is not blind to me doing this video. She knows that I'm doing this video. But I gotta roast Genesis because Genesis always trying to catch me in some shit, y'all. This is what y'all don't know about Genesis. This is why we have a back and forth, because she always trying to set me up every time. Like I'll be like, you know what, Genesis is cool. She good people, and then she'll pull some fuck it and try to get me in some shit that I don't want to be in, and then I'm all like, Genesis, like, why would you try to set me up like that? Because I'm under the impression that Genesis likes me, right? I'm not under the impression that Genesis hates me, but I think because I be roasting Genesis and stuff like that, she wants to terrorize me, which I'm completely fine with. But just let me know that's what you're doing. You know what I mean? But what's up, Celeste? What's up, Sweet Potato? What's up, Denitria? What's up, Messy? What's up, Cheryl? What's up, Genesis? She's here. I'm gonna let her up in a minute, but I just want to say this. I'm not against debating anybody. Like, I'm totally down to debate somebody if they go like, hey, AT2, you want to debate this person, blah, 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 you know, have a conversation. I don't mind that. But there's a few things. I'm not going to have a conversation with you on whether or not Kamala Harris is black. I'm not going to have a conversation with you about, misinformation as far as like, oh, she locked up a whole bunch of black people and all that stuff. Like, if you didn't do your research and we're not going to debate on policy, I don't want to have a debate with you. Like, you got to know what you're talking about, because I'm gonna definitely make sure that I know what I'm talking about when I talk. A lot of these debates that I see on YouTube, I think they're very superficial. They don't really go into depth about things. And I want it to be productive. Like, if I debate someone, is this going to persuade them to vote for Trump or to vote for Kamala Harris? Or are we just having a shit show for shits and giggles, you know? And especially if it's free 99. I don't want to do no shits and giggles show for free 99. I can do that on my own channel for free 99. Well, I get some AdSense on it, but I can do it on my own channel for free 99. That's how I honestly feel. Like, it's some things I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just don't know about it. And so it was, and I'll say the channel name. It was Senator. Am I saying it? It's Senator, right? Okay, but they over there with the Pan Africans, the pro black poly, all that stuff. The them freaky ass niggas over there. Like they are part of that group over there. I have nothing against them. It's just that going into that territory, you kind of know what you're getting into. And so I've been watching a couple of the debates and stuff like that that they have been having over there. One from today, and then one from I think a few days ago, Genesis. Yeah, a few days ago. What I got from it is that it's not something for me. Is it entertaining? Yes, it is entertaining. Do I think that it's productive though? No. Like, I'll give you an example. So from the debate today that I seen, it was basically asked like, "Oh, what do you like about the policy? Explain the policy to us." And it's all like, why would I explain the policy when the policy is on the website? Like, if you want to ask me specific questions, like, oh, do you think that one of the candidates will be able to do this, or what about this? Like, ask me specific questions, but don't have me wanting to read the policy. I think the moderator over there wasn't good. I was all like, I don't get it. And also too, am I trying to convince the average American why this candidate is better, or is this going to be a group of active voters? Are these people actually voting, or am I just talking? So it's a lot of questions with that. Let me go ahead and let Genesis up here. She probably tired of me talking. What's up, Genesis? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Oh, you took the
AT2 got me crazy, dude. AT2, like I wasn't.
But you did try to set me up.
I ain't trying to set you up, child. What? I was not trying to set you up. I was trying to actually hook you up into the debate scene over there, because I'm like, you know what? He has real information. When I was thinking anti-Kamala, when it really came down to it, you was able to set me in the right. Okay, this is wrong. This is wrong. This is the real truth. This, that, the other. I've done the research.
Thank you.
And so I felt like that's what they needed over there. And so, I was like, okay, well, if I know anybody, because when Senator contacted me and said, hey, do you know anyone that could debate a Trump person?
Yeah.
And who do you know? And I said, okay, well, I know AT2 because I just got finished talking to him about the same subject. I wasn't trying to set you up. I was more on the lines of, this is the person I know that knows about Kamala. I don't really know that many people that are down for Kamala right now.
Right. And you know what? Even though you try to set me up, I actually respect it. And the reason why I respected it is because, like you said, I know this is somebody who knows his shit. Like, if you would have went with someone else, you would kind of just be all like, oh, well, this person probably just says shit. They don't really know what they're talking about. But somebody like me, you're like, oh, I trust this guy. I know he's going to know what he's talking about,
I honestly think that if you would have took the debate, if you would have went up there, you probably would have created more awareness. The people that are, and he has over 100,000 subscribers. You know what I'm saying?
Right. He has a lot. Yeah.
And when he's doing his shows, it's a lot of people watching. So even on the replay. So I felt like if anybody that knew about the Kamala thing, you would know, and you'd be able to create awareness about the misconceptions and then come from a factual standpoint. Now, the person that was on the panel for Trump had had some facts, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But, on the Kamala side, because you know how to find someone else, didn't have all the details as far as policies.
Yeah, because the person, I don't want to say their name because I'm gonna go in, but the person was all like, oh, well, I'm not really for her. I'm more like an independent. I didn't want her, blah, blah, blah. And I totally get it. A lot of people are all like, oh, well, since Joe Biden dropped out, we should do open convention, blah, 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 blah. I totally understand it and get that. But however, at the time, it was 80 something days away from the election. That would have been very messy, very chaotic. I believe now Joe Biden should have dropped out a long time ago, but I think for right now, she was the best. If you look in history, when LBJ dropped out, the vice, they did do whatchamacallit, not an open process. What am I trying to say, y'all? Like a primary. Like they did do a primary, but they ended up going with the vice president. Just like when Nixon dropped out, they went with the vice president as well too. So I mean, it kind of follows on that same line, I can't hear you. Oh, did I mute you?
I was saying that you see, he has the information, he has the details. He can go back into the LBJ period. So if anyone would be able to really debate and have true information on Kamala, I said it's him. So I'm like, please go ahead and do this debate, because right now, all of the conscious community, right? They're all trumped out. It's the Trump. And I said, you know what? I think that you should go up there and create awareness about what the policies of Kamala are.
And the one dude, he had like a red hat on, and it wasn't a Trump hat, but it was like a red hat, and he said something like, "Oh, why don't we?" No, it wasn't the dude with the red hat. It was somebody else. He was all like, "Why don't we hold out for our vote and then wait and then make them be all like, oh man, we really got to try to get their vote next time." And that was one of the things. Remember, I told you I was all like, black people always want to say, let's start our coalition when it's time for election. No, we got to already start working on that first and then get that organized. We just can't say, oh, well, yeah, we're going to do this and then nothing comes from it. Like, let's start it now, but like, let's not say we're going to hold out our vote. Like, we still do what we're going to do now. Whoever you're going to vote for them. But let's start working on it like right after the election. And then, we come up with a plan or what we want.
Well, I think that right now there's so many distractions going on, right?
Yeah.
And
Stacey said, "Ho, you better get the name right. It's Kamala."
Kamala.
She didn't say "Ho, get the name right." I just added that, but she gave you the phonetics,
Kamala. Well, I'm just saying, Kamala Harris. That, when it really comes down to it, it's a lot of people really focusing on the race. I don't think they really covered that when they were talking about the election. They didn't really get into that on that debate. They talked about policy, because remember, you were afraid to go up there because you're like, I'm not trying to discuss her race, her this, her that, the other. I said, no, that's not really what they're going to be doing. Mm-hmm. They pretty much come concise. So the person that they were interviewing was a Trump supporter, and she knew what his policies were, and the person that came up there didn't quite know all of Kamala's policies. She did read them from the website, but I believe that you, being a supporter, probably would have been given more clarity and been more concise with the information and being able to really, really cook when it really came down to it.
Right, because one of the things that they had asked is like, oh, what has the Democrats done for black people? And like, it's a loaded question. You know what I mean? Because you have to go by every single individual administration. You just can't just say like a blanket, because when you ask Republicans, they were like, oh, well, Lincoln freed the slaves. Nigga, that was in excuse my language, Negro, that was, no, let me say, Ninja, that was in like 1865, 63 or something like that. I think it was 63 or 65, but you get my point. But if we go with that, I can go, well, Democrats in 1965 passed the civil rights, so it's kind of like,
and that was one of the biggest thing that they kept saying in that debate was, well, we were Republicans back in 1852 or whatever date it was, but back in 1665, we were not Republicans. We were not Democrats. We were Republicans, and so now we have been swayed to become Democrats. And
a lot of them ignore the Southern strategy thing. Some people will, like a Candace Owens, they'll debate that the Southern strategy wasn't a thing. The whole party flip. They'll pretend that that didn't exist.
My thing is, we're in 2024.
Right, exactly.
Why are we talking about 1872 or whatever, 62, 75?
Right. Because it really depends on, okay, well, what are you wanting and what are you looking for? Like, as far as like a candidate, not the stuff in the past or whatever. That's not going to help us today.
So I came in more toward the end, when they allowed people to come up, and I was like, okay, well, let's really get down to the point. Trump has he actually, when Obama when he got out of office and he came in, he did everything he could to like abolish every freaking bill that Obama actually tried to pass. Mm-hmm. So to me, I'm like, okay, everybody's gonna just look over that and just gloss over the fact that because he was a black president, and just to appease whoever he was appeasing did that. No matter how like good that those bills would have been for people, because it was Obama that did it, it didn't matter what it was. It could have been stopping UFOs from landing. He just like, you know what? No, Obama did it. I'm not for it, and I didn't like that. And then when it came down to Obamacare. When I asked her, I said, "Listen, so what about Obamacare? Oh, well, now he's gonna do it. They're gonna keep Obamacare, but then he gonna just change it up and okay, well, what's he gonna change?
Well, remember at the debate, he said they have concepts. They were like, okay, well, you try to repeal it, but there was nothing to repeal it with. He was like, well, we do have some. We have concepts. So that, AKA, they don't have anything to replace it with. But now he said, oh, yeah, we're going to keep it. We're going to improve it. But remember, his whole platform was to get rid of it. I think another thing too, because it's kind of like heavy, is like the immigration thing. And I'm not an immigration specialist. I'm not going to say like I'm the greatest at it, but I think there is a few misconceptions with the wall thing, because they're under the impression that, oh, Trump wanted to build this big wall and all this other stuff. That was superficial, because then all of a sudden they were like, yeah, we are building the wall. No, what they did was fill in gaps and rebuild and stuff like that. That's what they always do. That's what actually Kamala Harris wants to do, is like, make repairs and fill in gaps and stuff like that. But Trump had everybody thinking like it was going to be a big ass border wall like that goes across, because there's actually physical places where you can't put an actual wall, but people are so doo-doo, they think that, oh yeah, you can put a whole wall across the whole. No, it was always going to be repairs. It was never going to be an actual physical whole wall that goes all the way across,
But what's even wilder is that, do you know that there's people coming through through holes in the wall, leaving their passports?
Wow. Whoa, are the passports even real? That's a good question right there.
They instead of like them going through the border, there's like a like little area like somewhere, I think in like New Mexico, I don't even know where.
Well, yeah, there are patches. Yeah.
So they're coming through the patch, and then when they come through the patch and they cross over to America, they leave their passport on the side, and then they get in line. There's like soldiers there, but I'm like, dude, so the soldiers are just letting them come in, and they're coming like 600 at a time, 600, 700 people at a time, like bus loads of people.
Yeah, well, even then, because here's the thing, I think the perception is that they're not vetted. No, when they come through the border and they have to go through immigration and all that, right? Like, they are vetted through. I think some people don't realize that seeking asylum, whether it's domestic violence, war, whatever, that's legal terms to come into the country if you're like fleeing something. Like, for example, you know how they say the Haitians are eating people pets, all that shit, which is a lie. The reason why the Haitians are there is because, their president got assassinated. When did their president get assassinated, y'all? It was like I want to say like 4 years ago. But yeah, they're fleeing turmoil. So yeah, they're allowed to come in when they do go through the border. They do get vetted, because Trump will have you believing that the Taliban and Al Qaeda is coming through the border.
And they're also, now one thing I will say from what I heard, I'm not sure if this is true. I heard that Kamala went down to Venezuela and did some kind of deal, and then Venezuela let all their prisoners out and sent them to the United States. This is what I've heard.
No, that wasn't the deal. Okay, so I think that's internet rumor, but here's the thing, because they're trying to tie that into the whole Venezuelans are taking over Colorado. We can talk about that later, but no, her job, because they also during that debate talked about the whole border czar thing. First of all, a czar is Russian. Like, we don't have a czar in America. If you wanted to call her the border trap queen, I would have took that, but we don't have a czar. But her job was to find out the root causes of why all these people were coming. So she went to Venezuela, all the Central America and South America countries to figure out the root causes of why they were coming, whether they needed help with money or whatnot, and make deals in that kind of way to help the people so they wouldn't want to come to America.
So then they begin to come to America So did you hear about that they opened up all the prisons and sent them up to America? Did you hear about that? Is that true?
Well, in Venezuela, they don't let the prisoners. Have you seen the video of how they treat their prisoners?
No.
They they don't get out. Like, they literally. I'll have to send you a video of how they do their prisoners. Yeah, like no, that's just some shit they say. Now, the people who are already coming, are they happen to be from Venezuela? Yeah, but they're not, because what people like to say is that they're letting all the crazy and all the criminals out and then bringing them all over here. But the funny part about that is that I'm not saying that MS-13 and like gangs and stuff and the drug lords don't come over here, but if we're saying that all the crimes are committed by illegal immigrants, that would be false. More crimes are committed by actual citizens.
So why would you say that there were more people coming over during the Biden administration versus the Trump administration?
I don't think we realize how hard COVID hit us. It hit us really hard, but when I mean us, I'm talking about the actual world. A lot of people are in despair. I think, when we think of, for example, inflation, a lot of people just think, oh, we're under inflation. No, believe it or not, US is, even though it's high as shit, like, let's not kid ourselves. We're one of the lowest, actually. Ours is coming down, where you have a lot of other countries like, over in like UK and stuff like that, they're still struggling.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so more on a global scale, like COVID hit everybody hard. Like inflation is up everywhere. So say in 2020, Donald Trump ended up winning, he would still, it would still be inflation. People are under the impression, oh, there wouldn't be any inflation if Trump was still in office. He was so better well, first of all, he inherited the economy from Obama. But don't forget, in 2020, the reason why we all went to shit was because of him. Remember, there was no toilet paper, no nothing. We were all struggling. Mind you, Trump already knew about Coviana. I shouldn't say COVID no more, but Coviana, because I don't want them to flag my video. He knew about Coviana back in January, February, and he was like, oh, yeah, they're saying this thing is serious. But then when it, March, when they started shutting everything down, he was like, oh, you don't have to worry about nothing, and just basically try to pacify it. But no, like, he already knew about it and could have put stuff in place to try to help, but he just didn't care. He didn't take it seriously.
So, when I did get up there, what I did say is that when it comes down to like Democrat versus Republican, I said that's the real fight is not really Trump versus Kamala. It's Democrat versus Republican, because really the president really is just a person that's at the head. But the actual
Congress and Senate, we need to definitely focus on that more.
Yeah, and so I was like saying, really, we have to really focus on Democrat versus Republican, and everybody is like trying to just say, oh, well, this is a fight of Democrat versus Republican. It's like, no, the Congress is what you're really going to do. And when people go to the ballot box, what they do is they'll hit that one button and then they'll just whoop down the line for whatever, and don't even know what the other senators or whatever is saying. So just hit that one choice of being able to vote everyone down the line, one side or the other. And really, when it comes down to it, it's like when it comes to Democrat versus Republican, Republicans are more focused on like corporations, and they increase the debt to income ratio of the people. And that's what I was trying to say, is because they were more focused on Kamala and her, like when it comes down to being a lawyer and how she sent people to jail and this, that, the other.
Right. And the funny part is that Ronald Reagan was the king of the trickle down economics. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically they give all these tax cuts to the wealthy, and then they're supposed to create, the wealthy is then supposed to take that money and create more jobs and give to the needy and stuff like that. But if rich people, because I used to work at Restoration Hardware, the luxury furniture company, rich people are cheap. They don't give money like that. Like, that's some bullshit. If you give them a tax, they're keeping that. If anything, they're gonna go buy them some other shit. Like they're not gonna give it to people or create. They don't care about that shit.
Right. So toward the end of the interview, because I'm not really for either one. Like I said, I'm more independent than anything.
Right. I know you, Cornell West. I know.
And everybody like gets on me about that, but I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just say this: is that just look up his policies on his website.
No, I'm more care about who you vote for the Senate. That's my thing. But
to me, that's really what really matters. Is that like we can vote this figurehead in whoever it is, but the Senate is going to be the one that like makes sure that from a state level,
because y'all need to get that motherfucker Ted Cruz out of there. Oh, I wasn't trying to cut. Fuck it, we cussing this show.
And then on top of that, did you see that reparations law that California just tried to pass 2 days ago?
I didn't think it was a law. I thought it was an apology that they passed.
No, it was a reparations bill that they passed, and it had like this dumb crap like child care and then this, that, the other, and then apologizing for stuff and blah blah blah. But it really was
apology was a part. Okay, I thought it was literally just an apology. I'll have to research it.
Yeah, it really wasn't. It wasn't even nothing. It was like a nothing burger when it comes down to it. And so that was the only like contention I had with the Democrats is that what are y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? Why would this even matter? Like what are we talking about here? You know what I'm saying? So
right. But I also, because they did bring that up during that debate, and I was like, y'all, that's like local politics, because they try to mix Kamala in there, and it's all like, no, that's local, like that's not federal. It needs to be federal. Let me not play, y'all. You know I'm pro reparations, but that's more like if anything, y'all shouldn't be worried about it. I should be I'm here right now in California. I'm the one who should be complaining. So yeah, so I'm all like, okay, well, that's nice, but unless you live in California, I don't know why everybody's like, oh my God, did you see what the Democrats did? Yeah, it's California.
Can you look? I got it up on my screen. This is the actual bill right there.
Oh, okay, thank you. I forgot you guys can share and stuff like that. Okay. Let me look at this. Early child care and education, California State Preschool. Okay. Oh, so this was actually signed by him.
Yeah, that about 2 days ago. Yep.
Oh, okay. Because remember the other one that got shut down. Okay, because I was under the impression that
the Black Caucus. This is like what the Black Caucus offering was, and then he signed it. So the Black Caucus shot down the other one, and then they came up with this bull crap. So yeah, let's look it over.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's the apology. Okay, yeah, that I think I just read the headline that said apology, and that's what I see on here is the apology. I can care less about your apology. Where's my money? So what I'll say about this, I'm not totally. Oh, let me turn back on my camera because I had to squint to look at it because it's small on my screen. I'm not totally against it, but I noticed that it does say first. Wait, oh no, it says first in the nation reparations bill package. I'm gonna have to look over it because I'm not too impressed with it. I'm just kind of like, all right, so this is the first step, right? Like more is coming, right? Because in California they also shut down the I forgot what it's called in Genesis. You might know, but basically for Black landowners, like say because of policies and racism, there was land taken away from us in California. We were supposed to then get it back. You know how in Huntington Beach they gave them, not Huntington Beach, was it Huntington? One of the beach areas, the Black family got back their property, but then they ended up selling it and making money. One of those bills whatchamacallit, Gavin Newsom shot down. So
Yeah. So this bill don't got nothing about that in there. It's more about stuff that really already exists in the welfare system. Early childhood education, a preschool program, discrimination about race hairstyles, so you could like wear your hair. I mean, I think that was
yeah, but
already
they
like
already have
passed.
the Crown Act. So yeah,
Right.
that's why I'm all like, I
Pupil
have to look at
discipline,
this to be fair.
transfer reporting, state prisons, banned books. I guess people can read the 4-Day Laws of Power now in California. Chattel slavery, formal apology. What the hell does that do? Food and prescription access, grocery and pharmacy closures, discrimination, designation of California Black serving institutions, career technical education, data collection, strong workforce program, applicants receiving equity multiplier funding. So here's the thing. Now this is the governor.
Mm-hmm.
Now so I'm like, this is what I'm saying is that we're so focused on the president and the who's going to be president, but what happens is we go to the polls and we'll hit that button because we're lazy. We'll hit that button and we will vote. We will not go each individual according to what their policies are. We will hit that. Okay, I'm a Democrat. I'm gonna hit. It'll have that selection group for everybody, right? And that's what happens, right? So we'll say, okay, I'm voting Kamala, and then I'll hit the vote for everybody down the line, right? And then that's how you get people like this going on and what's going on right here.
I partially disagree with that. And the reason why is because like the city council, the trustee, the judges and stuff like that, those are supposed to be nonpartisan. And so it doesn't have like the D or the R next to those. But definitely for Congress, Senate and stuff like, yeah, it does have
the ones
marker.
that count and making little stupid behind things like this happen when the senator decides like not to pass a law, and then the governor can come on and pass a crazy law like this and say that that's reparations. That's what happens when you hit that button and say, okay, I want everybody that's a Democrat, boom, down the line, boom.
Yeah, well, here's my question for you. So are the Democrats offering reparations? I mean, not Democrats. Did I say Republicans?
That's a good question.
Because here's my thing. I'm always going to be for reparations. Don't think that I'm not. But the thing is that, okay, so you don't want me to vote for a Democrat. That's cool. Okay, got you. But so are the Republicans offering reparations then?
No, they're not. But the independent candidate, Cornel West, is.
Okay, so after I vote for Cornel West, right? So is the city council, the mayor, are they for it? You know what I mean? Because is there enough independent candidates?
You know what?
Because here's the thing, also too, it's kind of like with the Green Party. Okay, the Green
what
Party.
I'm saying, hold on, let me just say this. What I'm saying is that don't just hit that all button. Don't just
right. I agree with you. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
You can vote for this person and then hit every button. Find out what they're. Do some research. Don't just hit group down the line.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's why it's important to do research. I think that's the main message. Yeah, it's important to do research and figure out who the candidate is. Like, figure out who exactly what they're about. I know for me, like tomorrow at one of the coffee shops out here, there's actually like a I don't want to say a debate, but more like an open conversation with the candidates for city council and stuff like that. I'm probably not going to go tomorrow. I don't know why they would do it the same night of like the debate, because the vice presidential debate is it's already tomorrow for you, but October 1st. So I don't think I'm going to go. But they have an open discussion, an open panel for the different candidates and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff that people don't know. Like, there are opportunities to actually figure out, well, what are these other positions and what do they actually do? Like I said, I always tell people, vote for your local politics and stuff like that. I always tell people that.
So another question that was asked is, should we just not vote? to show our solidarity. And
I already told you no to that, and I said that Black people always want to do this coalition thing when it's time to vote. Like, we need to start working on that the day after the election. I answered that.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
So,
I was like,
right
Genesis,
that,
if
right,
you ask me that question one more damn time.
well, that was the thing that they said on the thing. So here's the question too. So really, when it came down to the conversation on that panel, there was a whole thing about I mean, they really was they never got into Kamala's race, which you thought come how do you say her name?
Yeah, because it doesn't matter because the other guy is white.
Right, they didn't like actually get into that, right? Kamala. What was it? Kamala.
Kamala, like comma and then la. Just say comma la. Yeah, Kamala.
Right, Kamala. I'm from Michigan.
Chameleon. Okay, that's how you say it.
Kamala. See, I'm from Michigan. I pronounce stuff different. So, people were just talking about like just when it really comes down to like the policy. What was it? Shoot, I'm trying to remember now. Hold on, because we talked about Trump. We talked about they asked her a question and she couldn't even answer the question. I forget what it was. Do you remember what the question was? She couldn't answer it. There
was a lot of those, so I'm not sure. Yo, I'm not even trying to be shady. It was a lot of questions. I'm all like, huh?
That's why I tried to get you to come up there and dang it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
listen, I needed at least like $3,000 to do that debate because I would have just been frustrated the whole time. I would have literally jumped out my window right here because I just would have been that frustrated. But
why would you have been that frustrated? Like, I think that you've been informing the vote. Like, listen, there's a whole audience over there that has because they've been fed Trump. So, you know, it's good to hear some Kamala information. Kamala. I think what was it about? Hold on.
Yes,
let me think
Joy,
for a second.
I agree. And thank you, Ronnie. I did see your comment.
I'm gonna have to bring it up to find out what it was because there was something that was really poignant, and it was not an answer given. Hold on.
Okay, stay away from.
Was it about the policy of her policies on? Oh, well, no, they were asking why. Okay, so Trump freed a bunch of people, in like Black people.
Yes, Demetria. Oh, go ahead. Genesis, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So the whole thing was about that Trump freed a bunch of people during his Kamala. Okay. He freed a bunch of people during his time as president, but you know, Kamala, you know what I'm saying, you know, was putting people away. So
I think they really didn't go deep into that because it's more of like a loaded question. Oh, thank you, Messiah. I didn't even realize I got a PayPal from him.
And then I think they like began to get into why
Genesis, let me answer the question, damn it.
I'm sorry.
All right. So I say the reason why it's a loaded question. Okay. So first, those were the people that he pardoned. Those were like federal cases. So you see him doing Lil Wayne, Kodak Black, all that. Okay, whoo, congratulations, you get a cookie. I think that was more of like you know, trying to say, oh, look, I don't freed these blacks out here. You know, look what I'm doing. I don't think that was out the goodness of his heart, but he can do that because it's the federal level, right? And I think that was try to garner votes, but didn't work, right? So moving on from that, let's also talk about the First Step Act. So the First Step Act, and what we don't talk about is that initially that was something that Obama was trying to get done, was the First Step Act. It was called something else before. I don't remember the name, but you guys can Google it and look it up. I'm not lying. I always tell you guys, look up whatever I say if you don't believe it. So that was shut down because, of course, just like you were talking about, he didn't have the Congress or the Senate. I think he didn't have neither. Obama's last term, I think he didn't have the Congress or the Senate his last term, but I have to look at that again. But it wasn't able to pass through. So when Trump came into office, he was able to get that passed through. However, the things like qualified immunity and like certain intricate details that was in the original was not in the actual First Step Act. So it did allow some people to get out of jail because it changed the sentencing and stuff like that in like the time. And it was like a credit system. Like if they did good behavior, then it got them out early. But the thing about that is it was a catch-22 because Trump implemented things. He changed the sentencing where it made it counterproductive, where it basically stayed the same in certain instances. So it worked in one way, and then in another way it didn't. Like, because this is one of the reasons why they called it the First Step Act, because it's supposed to be the first step, and then we're supposed to come back with another step, then another step to make it better.
So the next question is that Biden did not free the young man that just went up for death row. And
I'm happy that you brought that up. Rest in peace to Marcellus. Definitely rest in peace to him. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead and finish, Genesis.
So they were trying to compare the fact that, you know, Trump like freed all these like rappers, but then Biden didn't free the young man from death row. Marcellus.
I'm trying to get his last name too because I don't want to disrespect him. What's his last name, y'all? Is Sneaky Link in here? Marcellus. Hold on. Marcellus Williams. Yes. Okay, perfect. So Marcellus Williams, right? That was state, that was not federal. Biden cannot pardon anybody unless it's federal. Federal. So, and the reason why I bring this up is because, you know, I did hear that excuse like, oh my God, they couldn't. And I should have did a video about it because I feel like I could explain this. But he can only pardon people at the federal level. That was a state case. Now, this is why it's important for local politics, because Parsons, oh, thank you everybody who put Williams. Parsons, he is the governor of Missouri. So he said that, oh, this would be, you know, the family will get justice this way. Mind you, the family didn't want it. The prosecutor who prosecuted the case didn't want it. Everybody was trying to get them to stop the execution, and they didn't want to, even though his evidence was not on the weapon at all. Like, they didn't want to. The Supreme Court in Missouri, they did not stop it. The U.S. Supreme Court did not stop it. Now, the three justices wanted to, the liberal ones, you know, Ketanji, Sotomayor, and I forgot the third liberal judge wanted to stop it. But because there's six, conservative one, they couldn't do anything either. So what the reason why I'm saying that is because in 2016, when we said Hillary Clinton, when we said Hillary Clinton was the devil and she's worse than Trump and all this stuff, well, he was able to put three justices in, which then turned the court conservative. And then let's go with more of local politics. Parson, I don't know if he's up for re-election or if he's not, but I hope the state of Missouri remembers Marcellus Williams and be all like, hey, we got to get him out of here because he let an innocent man be executed. So I think there's a lot to be said. Oh, and those state Supreme Court justices, they need to be voted out too. So the reason why I bring that up is because that was not federal. That wasn't something that Biden could do. That was more on the state level. And that's what, you know, local elections matter. Mike Parsons, thank you.
Right. So they knew he was innocent and they still just let it go like that?
Correct.
The actual court like knew.
Well, So he was convicted. So if he's convicted, then yeah, they can proceed.
You know,
But
that
this
sounds
is
like.
why,
Go ahead.
but this is why, you know, when we talk about criminal justice reform, I think people are blaming like the increase of crime on criminal justice reform. No, criminal justice reform was about like, hey, this guy shouldn't go to jail for life for a marijuana charge. Hey, this is a non-violent crime. Why is this person doing 25 to life? Um, Criminal justice reform was about literally reforming the system and making it better and helping people rehabilitate. That's what it was about.
Wow. Mm-mm-mm. I just sent you another link.
Yes, Mel, exactly. Yeah, they basically said because there was two witnesses, if I'm correct, Sneaky and Mel, they're saying there was two quote unquote witnesses that seen him. That's what they were going by basically because they don't give a fuck.
So another
Okay, what is this? I can't read it. It's
okay.
too small.
So it's Tariq Nasheed is doing like a
Oh
formal
Lord, you got 30 seconds to explain this because I'm taking this shit off.
He's doing a formal invite for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris to join him and the Black community for a discussion at the Hidden History Museum in Los Angeles. To sit down will focus on your commitments to the Black community and how fundamental Black American culture can constructively benefit from your presidency. That was the call.
Nigga, who made you the leader of the Black community? Answer that for me, Genesis. Answer that, please. Nigga, who made you the leader?
He's
anybody know? Nigga, who made you the leader? And excuse my language, but I feel like it has to be said that way because some of these people, like, even though I like Dr. Umar because I think he's funny, he full of shit. Like, nigga, who made you the leader? Like, that's what I want to know.
Well, I guess he started the movement of the FBAs, so I guess he feels like he's like, stepping up to the plate of the thing or whatever that is.
Like, we gotta ask these people, like, who make and what would make you think that they would want to speak to you? Like, what kind of power and influence do you really think that you have?
So what happens if they do? What if Trump goes and speaks to him? Do you think it's going to cause like some kind of a sway in the Black vote?
No, because I think and I'm not saying that because let me just be honest. I think all Black people, all our opinions, we're not a monolith. They're all important, right? But I also feel that there's instances where people are big online, but do they have the power and influence to really make change? You get what I'm saying? Like a Tariq Nasheed is cool for online personality, but someone who would have more power and influence is like a Ben Crump, who actually has been to the White House and stuff like that.
So what do you think about the FBA movement?
I feel that this is kind of goes into what Miss Barbara was trying to get at because she was all like, oh, all the immigrants are taking everything and blah blah blah. I think it's two different conversations. Because again, we were the ones pushing for civil rights and stuff like that, right? And we finally got civil rights. But the thing is that also that included everyone else. And so a lot of stuff that has been passed and has been done has benefited everyone. And I think for us, we're like, where is just ours? And I think that's where reparations and stuff come into play. So I am all for that and I am down for that, but also I'm not for like trying to shit on anyone else. If they got what they got, that's what they got. I'm not for like, oh well, they shouldn't get this, like they like to bring up the LGBTQ community. Oh, they got this and stuff. Like, well, what are we doing where we're not getting what we want? That's what we need because is there, how like the Jewish people have AIPAC? Like, is there a Black pack?
Not that I know of. I mean,
yeah, because I try to look it up and see if there's a Black pack. Maybe I should start it.
Is the Black Caucus the Black pack? Is that?
No, but the Black Caucus is supposed to be in our favor. Do I think they're always in our favor? No. But do they have the majority to make the it's a double-edged sword, because it's all like, do they have enough people in Congress to make the change? They are the biggest caucus, right? Like out of the Latino, Asian, they are the biggest caucus, but do they have the majority? That's two different things. You know what I mean?
Well, one thing I will say about with Tariq Nasheed's movement is that there was a lot of people at that California thing, like campaigning when that whole like reparations bill. So it's something. There was something to it. You know what I'm saying? It's something to what he's doing, because you know when he gets online, it's like 25K people. So it was at least like 1,000 people like sitting at that during that time when that bill didn't pass. Like at that the California governor thing, they were all there screaming like no, like what's going on? You know what I'm saying? So so he does have like some influence on the people.
But can we be honest about that? Reparations isn't a new concept. There has been like multiple different reparation bills. There's reparation bills for, I think, I want to say like each state. Like it's not a new concept. Like it's not like, oh my God, Tariq Nasheed was so groundbreaking. Like, no, people have done this in the past. Like,
but from what I understand is like California is a very, very integral state. If it gets passed in California, all the other states will follow, type of thing. Like that's what they're like saying, that California, when things pass in California, it has a ripple effect on the other states. So do you believe that?
I heard you say that before. I don't think so. Because we passed it here, is it going to pass in like Mississippi or Alabama or Florida or Tennessee? Mind you, you people who live in like Tennessee and Florida, please make sure you guys get out and vote. Where that Project 2025, where they kind of test everything out, Tennessee and Florida, that's where they test all that shit out. Keep going.
So what about abortion? So, Nicole talked about like Trump and his thoughts about abortion, and the fact that, that the Republicans are staunchly against this, but then she's like for Kamala because she doesn't, I mean, they're like pro abortion. So do you think that whole stance is really about like, genocide versus not genocide? What's the word for it? Population control versus, on the other thing, they understand that there's a low birth rate and they're trying to preserve people. What do you think?
I think they are trying to preserve the birth rate, but not for the blacks. I think that's specifically for the whites. I think if it was just us, quote unquote, getting rid of all the babies, I don't think they would care.
You don't think they would care?
Do you think they care about us?
I think to a certain extent.
Because people are saying, watch your goddamn mouth, by the way, with that A word.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I'm used to being able to talk free. If you click the button and say that there might be like some words that are like, what I'm saying, when you do your video, when you do it monetized, you like can show, but that's okay. But anyways, I think that the reason why they're even bringing in immigrants is right. They need a certain working class.
That's true.
So if we begin to stop procreating, then guess what? They have to go to immigrants to create a working class. So they almost shot themselves in the foot by making abortions more things more available. Because now the small amount of like the births that are happening are not necessarily trying to do the jobs that, you understand what I'm saying?
I think you're conflating two different things. So I'll just stay on the chop shop conversation because I don't want to say the word like you keep
My
saying.
bad. I'm sorry.
So, so again, with the chop shop situation, the reason why it's important is because you're seeing these extreme cases where doctors don't want to touch a woman because they're all like, oh, if I do this, then I might be penalized and then, go to jail where, the baby is not viable and they're not, the doctor can't terminate the pregnancy for those like extreme cases. I think we're not realizing what it actually is. I think we're just under the impression that everybody just wants to take their baby to the chop shop. No, that's not true. I think now, at least, for me, I'm a millennial and I don't have any kids. So with a lot of us, we're not having kids as young anymore. Like we're all like, I'm about my money. I'm selfish. Maybe it's the Sagittarius in me, but I'm selfish. Like I ain't trying to, nah, like I'm still trying to build an empire, which will be coming soon, but I'm trying to build an empire. So that's where my mind is on. So I'm not even thinking about kids. So I think, with those, and don't forget it's high too. Like I can't work at McDonald's and get a 3-bedroom home no more. Like that's thrown out the window. Like that's long gone, that dream. Like it's all like, I'm already struggling. Why do I want to struggle more? So that also affects the birth rate, not being able to afford children. And then people aren't just having kids like that. Don't forget, women are able to have choices now. You no longer, Genesis, what's great about America? You no longer have to spread your legs and just get and birth out children. You can actually work. You can start a business. You are a business owner, by the way, right?
Yes.
You don't have to depend on no man or nothing like that. You're an independent woman. How great does that feel, you being an independent woman?
It feels wonderful. However,
exactly. So let me finish. So with that being said, you don't have to no longer not work anymore, not do anything. And shout out to all the housewives out there. If you want to be a housewife, it's still your choice, right? But you're not forced to do the things that you are in, because I think we don't think about why the other stuff that affects the birth rate. You no longer have, you're not told all you're good for is making babies and getting in the kitchen and cleaning the house no more. Women are working.
Right.
Put a 1 in the chat if you're an independent woman. I'm serious. All the independent women, put a 1 in the chat. Damn it. Independent. This show is so unserious. There we go. We see the independent women.
Independent.
Yo, I'm about to clip this part right here. That's funny as shit. Oh my god.
What's the word she be saying? Throw your hands up at me.
Yeah, I think throw your hands up at me. Yeah,
that's weird. Like,
women are more independent now. Like we forget about that, but yeah, like that's why. Kind of like there's times when like people talk about, oh yeah, there was more black marriages in the 1940s and 1950s. Yeah, there was also segregation, racism, niggas was getting hung and shit like that. There was also a lot of that too. So
what about late term smorgasbords? You know what I'm saying?
Again, that's such, because what the Republicans are saying is that women are having
panel.
Oh, go ahead.
The person that was on the panel was saying, well, it should only be about the doctor and the person and based on their health, So
well, Vivian, take your ass somewhere else then. Get your ass up out of here. Don't block her, but get your ass up out of here. Willingly leave your ass. Get your ass up out of here. And I hope you're an independent woman and you have a good night, by the way. All right, go ahead.
Oh, the women
independent.
Oh, your happy.
Okay, go ahead and finish.
Anyways, so I want people to understand, because they're getting mad at me, like I'm the one with all these ideals, right? So yeah. I have
listen. Genesis is allowed to say whatever she want to say. We're just having a conversation, Go ahead.
And really, what it really comes down to, I'm just really recapping the event that happened tonight. Please don't think that I'm, you know what I'm saying, believing in everything I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe in some of the things I'm saying when it comes down to, independent candidates and allowing them to really have a stake in the game. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think that I don't really trust either side of like the Dem or Republican Party.
Right. You for Cornel West.
Yep. Shouts out to Cornel West. So, but of course, me being a person that understands politics, I have to understand both sides to even like be able to like see that, okay, this person I think would be better. But I get y'all like, oh, he ain't doing nothing. He ain't gonna be able to. I get it. So the conversation really got into, because we're talking about a conversation that happened into a debate that I was trying to get AT2 to do, but he was like, no. I was like, no, you have to do it because I know that you're going to be able to do exactly what you're doing right now, breaking it down. And so what happened is the person that was for Trump, you know what I'm saying, had all the facts of Trump. And the person I brought up there was really an independent person. So really, she didn't have all the facts of Kamala. And I was really trying to bring AT2 up there because he knew all the facts. Now, when it came down to questioning like some abortions, some abortions was like, well, she was saying that it should be just the doctor that chooses whether or not this is viable for the person. Like, imagine a person that could be 9 months, and if something's wrong with the baby's health or the person's health, it should be allowed. So what do you think about that?
I would agree with that. It's between their doctor. Yeah. Because honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't know if I can make that decision whether or not, hey, you can either choose to keep the baby alive or we can choose to keep your wife alive. Now, we'll give you 5 minutes to decide. I don't know. And Genesis, you a woman, you got a coachee. You should answer this question. I shouldn't answer it. What if the doctor told you, hey, we can save you or we can only save your baby? What choice are you going to make? And I don't even think you can answer that, Genesis.
Most of those situations are very few and far between. I believe
right, and those are the ones that people having a conversation about. But the way the Republicans make it seem is like, oh, you just have the baby, and then they go like, oh, you want to I almost said that, you want to unalive this baby, and they'd be like, yeah, let's just go ahead and unalive this baby. Like, that's not true.
Well, hold on. I think I do agree with the part that the Trumper said that the most people that are doing this are not doing it because there is a health condition. They're doing it because maybe the father didn't want it, or maybe she didn't want it. It was unexpected, blah, blah, blah. So
wait, at 9 months is unexpected?
Well, no, I'm saying what she was saying.
Because you're moving on to something different, Genesis. You're double speaking because we're still on the 9 month thing.
Okay, 9
So let me know if you want to move away from that.
I'm sorry. Okay, so 9 months. No, that's awful. That is brutal and just being a complete, a weirdo doing that. No, that at that point that baby is viable. You know what I'm saying?
Well, what I'm saying, Genesis, is that at the 9 month, like that's. Nobody is all like, oh, at 9 months I'm gonna get I'm gonna go to the chop shop. That's not even a choice that you have to go to the chop shop and get that done. Because and again, I don't have a coochie. You have the coochie. Like, ladies in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but at 6 months, if you have we going there, I gotta go there. If you have a miscarriage, don't they make you still push out the baby? They can't. Yeah, they still make you push it out. So like at a certain point, you would have to push out that baby. So who's trying to have a unalivement of their baby at 9 months? That's why that doesn't sound even that doesn't sound plausible.
What it sounds like to me is
there's no place where you can go to the chop shop and be like, you know what, it's 9 months, I don't want my baby. Those are just talking points that they say.
I mean, it's you can like pass away at the chop shop. So I'm like, what are you talking about? So I don't to me, I think that they're using that as a moving goalpost to like say, oh, so what about this month? How about this month? How many this month? Bottom line is that's why I went back into the real reason why people are doing this. It's not because there's a medical issue or oh, this person might pass on and this, that, the other.
But that's why I'm saying that you're conflating two things. If a woman decides that she wants to go to the chop shop at 20 weeks or something like that, that's her choice. Why is that your business?
Have you seen Baby Junior?
Who's Junior?
Jesus Malone. Krishan's baby, Jesus.
Oh, yeah. What about him?
Now she was about 4 or 5 months, right? And she wanted to go to the chop shop. Now Jesus Malone wouldn't exist if she would have been able to like go to the chop shop.
Genesis, what the hell are we talking about? Because why are we bringing up Krishan and her?
No, you're not hearing what I'm saying.
Is that special case?
No. What I'm saying is that you saw her find out that she was impregnated. You find out that she was later in her pregnancy, and she actually went to a smortion clinic to get the chop, right?
Yeah, and if she would have got that at 4 or 5 months, that would be her choice. Okay. I don't understand what we're arguing. Like that's not a 9-month baby, because you're trying to conflate this with the whole 9-month thing, and what I'm letting you know is that's not true.
I don't
if
know.
You're trying to say that's the only I don't agree with it at all, Genesis. If you're trying to say I don't agree with it at all, just say that, but don't make up conspiracy theories and lies.
Well, I'm not making up a conspiracy theory. I'm just saying that we all get to see that this baby would have not lived if those laws were in place where she would have been able to smortion that baby. And now we see the baby living, cute as ever. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, at the end of the day, like I don't agree with smortions at a certain point. Now, when it's a little pea bud, okay. You know what I'm saying? But when you start
already have laws to where I think Georgia, it's like 22 weeks or something like that. So most states already have like laws and stuff like that where they limit the abortion terms. Aren't you in Texas? I don't even think y'all can get one in Texas past like 4 weeks. So
I don't think we can't get it at all.
Oh well, yeah. In that case, you good.
Y'all forgot they passed. They reversed Roe versus Wade. So yeah, ain't no,
right.
Yeah, I had to go to Oklahoma and get one.
Yeah. So in that case, then you ain't got to worry about people doing it 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 months. Then,
honey, the moment you get knocked up, that's it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So the question is now in void. Okay. Next topic.
No, they were saying like 7 months or 5 months. Well, bottom line is that there's a point where the baby is viable. And they were asking that question. I'm not the only reason why I brought it up is it was brought up in the debate. So y'all get off my tail.
Right. But then again, I really think that's a conversation for women to have, because what pushed that woman at that point to have it at 4 or 5 months? I don't know. I can't answer that question. Again, if it's for a medical reason, then it's for a medical reason. But if it's for her choice, even then, I can't say that she is wrong. Anybody that's in a loving relationship and love one another, more than likely they're going to carry their baby to term. I think if you're in some kind of constraint or, some kind of financial trouble or, mentally unstable, then maybe you would think like, okay, I can't do this no more. But again,
the point I made, I said, well, where will these children go if they are unwanted? For the most part, they will end up in the system, end up in foster care, and then we would have to take care of them through our tax dollars. And then that's like the beginning of degeneracy in society, because they probably go through trauma in that situation. And now you have a bunch of like criminals running around because of the fact that they were not raised by their parents because they're, whatever. So
That's extreme, but I get what you're saying. Yeah. Then in that case, then okay. So are you for it or are you against it, Genesis? Because I'm confused where you're going.
I am, I have had smortions before. So, I mean, I would say like it was in my best interest at the time because I was not in any position to be able to care for a child. So I would say that to a certain extent, I agree with it. But then once I had a child that I was going to smort, I then began to say, dang, you know what? If how many, like, okay, when you look at that child and see it grow and you're like, man, my other smarts, like, how would they have been, So there is a certain level of like regret.
Well, I wanted to say thank you for sharing your story. And I think, part of your reason why is because one, you are a mom, and then two, you have had to make that difficult choice. But even with that being said, that was your choice, right?
Well, sometimes when you're younger, you probably will make a choice that probably isn't the best. You understand? Because you might be just thinking about, like, see, my smarts was because I was thinking about how my family would think, And now that I'm older, I'm like, fuck what my family thinks, right? I'm thinking about, I'm about to have this at this age, and I don't want to let down my family. And so now I'm looking at it like, dang, I could have, wow, who cares? When I'm older, I'm looking at it like, dang. So, yeah.
Right. And I think that's what kind of is making your decision for you, is that you have some regret. That would be a true statement, right?
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people probably do. I don't know anybody that, I mean, you probably do.
Right. I can imagine that. Yeah. I'm not going to say that's incorrect. But at that point, like, you felt that was your only option, right?
Well, it wasn't my only option. I could have
It wasn't your only one, but you felt like this was the right choice at that time period.
It was a very selfish choice. I'm not gonna lie. I made a very selfish choice.
But you had the choice. Key word is what I'm trying to let you know is choice.
So sometimes, like, so I would say it's a sensitive subject, you know what I'm saying? Because, sometimes that choice, it depending on how you're making it, you might not even be in the right mental capacity to make the right choice. So, like, you might be making a decision based on like really superficial things that later on you look back and say, dang, I made, that was messed up. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why I like feel the way I do.
Yeah. But, I'm always going to be, whatever your choice is. Like I said, I think women should be the ones making the choices for themselves.
I think there probably should be counseling for people that are younger to make sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Resources, everything, I definitely agree with that. But I also believe that after the baby is here, there should be resources as well too. The child tax credit. I think that's great what Kamala wants to do with the child tax credit. Now, she want to do 6,000 for, year one. It should be 6,000, more, but it is what it is. But I think that's great. It does help families. I would like to see more like, help with childcare, as far as, getting someone to babysit and all that stuff. I think there needs to be something for that too as well, but at least it's a start. It's something, right?
Yeah. And I think that, but the only thing that I feel like that might be a dangerous thing when you get into the government and care and the government controlling care is
thank you, Mel.
More and more
for sharing your story.
As time is going on, the government is getting more and more involved in our children, so that's the only thing that I find that could be kind of dangerous because, when you involve the government into your children, then now you're involving, you're taking more rights away from yourself as a parent. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. So It's a
I
catch
feel like
22.
the government is always in our business. Because I hear that argument a lot. Like, oh, I don't want the government in my business. I don't want them in this and that. But it's kind of like, well, what specifically do you not want them in? Like, can you elaborate on that?
Well, when you get into childcare, you know what? It's almost like, okay, like schooling. Okay.
Uh huh.
Um, with the school system, there's a big level of control that if the child misses school, and then you can go to court if they're late for school. If you have the government involved in early child care, then if you don't bring that child to the child care at a certain time, now you're probably going to be up levied for the same laws as a school, right? So all this stuff is really
No,
meant.
that would be different. Truancies in school is different from childcare.
Not yet. I mean, I think it could start off. It's going to start off that way, and eventually, it's going to end up being more rigid. I'm sorry.
Well, let's just think about what's going on now, not the future.
When the government gets involved, they start off with one, and then it gets more and more rigid, and more. The more that the government can control with your children, the more that they can be able to enact all laws and be able to create more control over you and your children. Think about this. Back in the day, I mean, I was a latchkey kid, right? My mom would be at work, and I would get off of school, and I would open the lock and sit there and wait for my mom to get home. Now that would be considered like child abandonment and all type of different stuff. But I was very intelligent enough to do that, right? But the kids now, no, they can't do that. So, but we were intelligent.
But I just feel like you always have to answer to the government, and that's kind of like what Mel was saying. You always have to answer to the government in some kind of way. Like, you're never. I mean, we have a social security number. You know what I mean? Like, we're always gonna have to answer for something. I think that's like the extreme that we're thinking of. That probably won't even happen in our lifetime. Where, oh yeah, if you don't take your child to child care and all this other. I don't even think that's
the part that they did not discuss in that debate is AI. Now, here's the thing: is that AI is about to be a very important part of society coming up in the future, right? I'm not really hearing either candidate really discussing the impact of AI when it really comes down to the community.
That's a good one. I haven't heard that either. I'm not so versed in it, but I do believe that there's local policies like in states, and as far as I know California has a law about it. I don't know about Texas or not, but as far as federal, I don't know.
I mean, when AI becomes AGI, and then becomes damn near sentient, what are we going to do? You know what I'm saying? And then at the point where it becomes a thing that is operating on its own, and this is not going to this is going to happen during the next presidency. And by the way, AI is growing very quickly. It's going to be within our lifespan, within the next 4 years. AI is going to be like a very prime situation. And we need to ask the questions like, what do you plan on doing with AI? Like, what is going to be a thing? Like, are we going to lose all of our jobs to AI? And then now we're just, what are human beings going to do at that point?
Yeah. Well, I think technically, we see like the self-checkout lanes and stuff like that. So, I mean, in those kind of ways, we do see humans being replaced by robots and stuff like that. But in turn, I can say here, because I live in the Bay Area, some of those self-checkout stands, they got rid of that shit because they noticed theft and stuff like that. So the cashiers are back working. So, it's a catch. But I think it depends on where you are at and where you live, because not every state is really advanced. Like for example, we don't have the robot dogs, but Mel, she lives in New York, they have the robot dogs. So AI is different. Where I think like somewhere in North Dakota or South Dakota, they're probably not even thinking about AI. They probably just invented the wheel in North Dakota, South Dakota. I'm just kidding, but you know what I mean.
Well, the scary thing is that we're competing against countries that have a very developed AI system, a very developed in technology. We're competing with like China and Japan and different countries like that, that are very technologically advanced, that have a very, even Dubai, right? So when it really comes
Well,
down to it,
yeah, we're gonna compete with those countries, but I don't know, because the job growth is there. Like, it was slow, and I believe like August the job report said that it underperformed, but for the most part the job report has always um performed well since the Biden administration. Oh, also a misconception is that, oh, Biden just got back the jobs that Trump had lost during the pandemic and stuff like that. That's not true, because the jobs started coming back in May of the same year during the pandemic. But on top of that, I think a more important conversation is like, who's going to raise the minimum wage? I think that's more of like the conversation people want to have, like higher paying jobs.
speaking of wage, what do you think about BRICS?
What is that? I'm not familiar.
Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. It is like the new movement to create African currency based into the gold standard. That's going to be coming up actually they've already started to do that and reinforce that. So what do you think is going to happen to the American dollar once BRICS comes into play, right? And also on top of that, how do you think that what candidate do you think will be more ready for that? Like, so there's a lot of technology that's about to hit us, and a lot of like stuff like financially that's about to hit us, like, and try to crash the American dollar. Who's going to be able to really, like, you know what I'm saying?
I think that's more like the fringe and conspiracy. And I'm not saying that it's not a threat at all. I want to be clear. Let me not use the word conspiracy. But I don't know if you know, but Iran, China, Russia, and there's one more country has their own system too. That hasn't crashed our dollar.
But are they combined with BRICS?
No, they're not. But what I'm saying is that those are, Russia, China, they're, leaders of the world and stuff like that. So if they can't take us down, then why would we think that the BRICS or Brit or whatever is going to take us down?
Well, they're based in the gold standard. So therefore, if we don't have any gold over here, what is our dollar backed by? And so what's going to happen is that
our dollar is backed by gold, though.
No, it hasn't been backed by gold since I think like the 1700s.
Wait, what are our dollar backed by then?
I think human labor. I'm not sure. I'm not sure when the gold standard was gone, but
okay, let's skip this conversation because okay, yeah, I'm not too versed on it. So next topic. Yeah, our currency is moving digital. Yeah, that's one thing. But what is the US dollar backed by?
Prior to 1971, the US dollar was backed by gold. Today the dollar is backed by two things.
Oh, go ahead, finish reading.
So prior to 1971, the U.S. dollar was backed by gold. Today, the dollar is backed by two things: the government's ability to generate revenues via debt or taxes, and its authority to compel economic participants to transact in dollars. So it's us. It's our human labor and our interaction in the economy that backs the dollar. Not so it's human capital, not so much gold.
Oh, okay. So, even with that being said, I don't know how that's going to affect us. I don't. But like I said, Iran, Russia, and China, they have their own thing. I don't know what it's backed by, but if that hasn't crashed us, then
they're actually that's the Iran and Russia and China is part of BRICS.
Oh, it is part. Oh, so the other countries are joining it.
Yes.
Oh, see, I taught you something. Well, technically, we taught each other because I knew about the Russia. Okay, so those other. So is that confirmed that they are joining, or is this just an idea?
Oh no, it's happening. Yeah, they're just signing all the stuff right now. Yep.
Okay, do you have an article for reference?
Let me do it. Let me give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you right now.
Okay, so oh, here we go. Oh, that's what I ain't reading that shit. That's way too small. Okay, let's move on to the
Hold on,
next topic.
let me make it bigger.
Okay. On September 24th, 25th, the BRICS Energy Corporation Summit took place in Moscow. Members discussed energy corporation development, including greater efficiency and digital transformation. Yet, despite all of this, all eyes are on BRICS Summit 2024. It will take place in Kazan in October. It's set to reveal details about the future shape blog a potential gold-backed BRICS unit. Stable coin is the gold-backed stable currency real. What the gold has is still speculation. The idea comes from the official statements. Okay, so this is something that's in the work in progress. Then.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. When more information come out about it, I'll have an opinion. But right now, I don't have an opinion.
So they're having like the whole summit in October. So we're gonna hear about it on the news coming up soon. So
yeah, but that doesn't seem like something that's going to happen like right away.
But it will happen within the time that this next president is elected.
So if the BRICS hasn't taken us down now, you think they're going to take us down? Like, I just want to know what's going to be the ramifications. Like, what's going to happen?
That means the American dollar is going to tank.
Okay, so it hasn't tanked yet. So you think that it is going to
it hasn't tanked yet because no other country is backing their money in that format. And once they do that, it will tank. Hold on, let me find this. Okay, let me see. Well, BRICS. Here. Uh-oh. I found my pigeonhole. So here we go. All right, you see this?
Yeah, I see it. Okay, so what is it about?
The BRICS currency and how it will affect the US dollar.
Where's this article from?
It's from NASDAQ.
Okay.
Hold on, let me get back to it.
Okay. It's called BRICS, BRICS, no K. So it's BRICS without the K. Thank you, Mel. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So it says the potential impact of a new BRICS currency on the US dollar remains uncertain, with experts debating its potential to challenge the dollar's dominance. However, if a new BRICS currency was to stabilize against the dollar, it could weaken the power of the US sanctions, leading to a further decline in the US dollar's value.
It could also read that first part again, because that's your answer right there.
The potential impact of a new BRICS currency on the U.S. dollar remains uncertain, with experts
Keep going.
with experts debating its potential to challenge the dollar's
Good night,
dominance.
Denitria.
However, if a new BRICS currency was to stabilize against the dollar, it could weaken the power of the U.S. sanctions, leading to further decline in the U.S. dollar's value. It could also cause an economic crisis affecting American households. Aside from that, this new currency could accelerate the trend toward de-dollarization.
Yeah. So, it still seems like it's an idea. It could potentially, but I feel like with any system, it could potentially weaken our dollar. Like that's not a for sure thing.
So,
The
so
problem
here
with
now
American dollar is
here's the
that it's
problem.
already lost value. What they want to do is get rid of cash completely. Yeah, and that's what Mel was saying. They want to move digital anyway. So yeah, I'm not an expert at that, so that's why I'm all like, I'll have to look into that further. But
So
keep
here's the
going.
thing: is that any candidate that we're going to be working with, right? So this is was it Brazil, Russia? I think it's India, or it might be Iran, China, and South Africa, right?
Hmm.
So Russia and China and Iran. Now, if we are in conflict with Russia, Iran, and China, right?
Hmm.
Now, by the way, Russia right now has nuclear.
Well, we're kind of already in because of the Ukraine war. So
So imagine if this. So simultaneously we have that Ukrainian thing going on, and then we have this BRICS thing going on. We have nuclear ships coming into the coastline, coming over to Cuba, hitting over there by Alaska. I think that they did. Like, so things are like they're moving in. You know what I'm saying? On top
oh,
of
it's
that, you have
India.
a bunch. We have it's India, and then we have a bunch. India. That's even worse because all of our technology is done by Indians. And then on top of that, here's the thing: if we so we have like that whole thing going on with the ships coming in
Hmm.
over here docking off of Cuba. We have Chinese people that are like actually buying farmland next to military bases. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I remember you were telling me something about
Yeah,
that.
there are like there's a bunch of like Chinese farmland. They've already like kind of infiltrated the country. So it's like there is a I mean, I hate to like, and I'm listen, I'm not like a scare tactic person, but
Hmm.
New York Post right here. Let me show you this. This is the map right here. Hold on, I'm about to show it to you. I'm just wondering what president is going to be ready for, because this is all like within coming up. Like the next, this is all going to hit. It's not. They're not playing with us. Okay.
Hmm. And you
This
said this
this
from the
is
New York
Chinese
Post.
owned farmland in America. You see
Okay.
this
Yeah.
right next to all of our
So
military.
what are they going to do with the farmland?
Well, they're right next to the military bases. What do you think? Like they're next to the base. That's a compromised situation. I used to be in the military.
So are
These
we
are
saying that the
strategic positions,
okay,
and
but are
and
we
more.
saying so are we saying that the Chinese are trying to set up right there so then they can like take over our military bases? I'm just trying to say what are you alluding to?
I mean, I'm just showing you the information because to me that's what it looks like. I mean, why would they be? Why would they set up right there? Why would they?
Because technically, we have presence in other people countries as well too. And I'm talking besides the US embassies. We have so that's why I'm all like I don't know if that's just like an idea that the New York Post had put. Like I don't know like how why should we be scared? Like I do we think our government hasn't thought about, that's interesting that they're buying up all the land and like, are we just ignoring it? Like, I'm just trying to see like what's the
So basically, they could be exploited by spies, right? And so now you have an influx of immigrants, right, coming into America. A lot of Chinese immigrants at the same. So it's alarming.
Didn't they just kick out a spy recently within the last year? I think there was like a Chinese spy or something. Like
that. Exactly. That was actually in the government. That was actually working in the government.
I think it was with Swowell or something like that. The congressman from here. Like he represents Alameda, and like he said that he had no knowledge or something like that. Yeah, but they kicked the girl out. But the whole spy thing, that's not rare. Like that happens a lot. Like there's a lot of spies.
So here's the thing: is that say if they have a base right next or a farm, so called, right next to a base, right? That means that they have a quick way, like they're not. So, if you understand anything about like even like the internet, right, how it works, that means they have a very quick line into like that infrastructure when it comes down to computers. They can hack into it.
But so, is it the government or is it just independent people that happen to be Chinese that own the land?
I don't know, but they're saying it's a threat. You know what I'm saying? The Department of Homeland Security has warned of a threat of Chinese spies slipping over the U.S. border. And let me tell you something.
So the Chinese are coming from the border?
Yes. And there was a video of them coming over, leaving their passport. I saw a video. I got to find the video. When I find it, I'm going to send it to you.
Okay, yes.
So they showed them actually coming over the border. And they put their passport on the side of the thing.
Was this like on Twitter or something?
No, it was on YouTube.
Wait, so why did they throw their passports?
I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? Like maybe not to be noticed who they are. I don't know. Like I'm like, when I saw that, I said, why they put their passport over there? Like that was crazy. I said, what? And nobody said go get your passport. There was an actual military soldier sitting there, and they were all in line. They showed the people coming in. It was like 600 people in a car, like in like vans of people coming over this one little spot that had like an open gate, and people were just leaving their passports there.
And they're just coming in them.
Yeah. When I'm gonna find that video and I'm gonna show it to you. I should have saved it.
If you have a passport, I don't know why you would throw it.
You ain't trying to go back. Maybe whatever they do, they ain't gonna be no.
Wait, Genesis. Here's the thing: if you have a passport, you can go through the border. Like go through the regular border. Like you don't have to like try to sneak in through a like. That's what I'm like. I think this is some conspiracy theory shit.
Listen,
Genesis,
they had this on a. Maybe I'm watching some fake ass shit.
Yeah, you listen. You hang out with all them 69 weirdos over there, so I'm pretty sure you be watching some weird shit because like that doesn't make it. Like, they have a passport, right? They have a passport.
I'm gonna find that video and
they just throw it at the border. You're like, I made it to America. Let me just throw it.
They like I swear to God, I saw a video. They like left it there and they got in line, and there was one soldier sitting up there, and I guess
and the New York Post be with the shit. That's what I'm all like. I don't understand like what the article is really trying to tell us. Like that's why I'm all like,
cults. Like don't be ridiculous. Like cults are nothing to do with that. What are you talking about? No, male to my cults. No. Yeah, don't.
No, one of her cult people probably sent her this damn article. I know that, but
no.
They probably sent her the passport video. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, like I kind of all like, okay, well, that's the future. Like, I guess for me, I don't know enough about it. Like I said, it's something that I would have to research. But
I think that the actual video, the people that were coming over the border was from New York Post, so it might be. I don't know, but I did see it.
Yeah, that's what I'm all like. I know the New York Post be with the shit. That's what I'm all like. I don't know about all that. I'm all like, so they
I'm
just
gonna find out. I'm gonna find.
they
that
have a
video.
passport, but then they just throw it because they don't. Oh, and it's China. It's the Chinese specifically that go through the border and they just throw their passport and then. Okay, all right.
Wait, hold on. I think this might be the bit.
Okay, you found it.
Let me see.
Damn, we've been on here for a while.
All right, I'm not gonna play the actual audio because I don't want you to hear like a thing. But it's
where's it from?
It's from News Nation.
Oh, that's the one with Chris Cuomo, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Pull it up. Yeah, I was thinking like it's some Q.
Oh, here it is. I found it.
Girl.
60 minutes. It's on 60 minutes.
Okay.
Here we go. I found it. Here we go.
What year is
y'all
it
not
from?
gonna make me listen, it was 7 months ago. Y'all not gonna let me see like I'm losing my goddamn mind. God dang it. Y'all not gonna sit up here and make me feel like I'm losing my damn mind. Because I know I'm not crazy. God dang it.
Because I try to look it up on YouTube too, throwing passports at the border.
It's called A Hole in the System. I'm not gonna play the audio.
Play it. No, play the audio.
Okay.
The story will continue in a moment.
And you're gonna see them coming over, and they're gonna.
What always cracks me up is like whenever they film the border, and like they're literally seeing the people just walk in and shit like that, and I'll just be like, "So y'all didn't call like Border Patrol and tell them like, hey, these people are just walking in, y'all just filming it."
No,
like that shit is always just weird.
Listen, there's a soldier right there. That's what's crazy. It's an actual Border Patrol agent right waiting for them to come over.
Yeah, that's why I always be like, okay, so I don't understand. Like, that's why I'm all like, okay, so are they just like, what's going on? You know, like it's never like explained. Oh, go ahead and play.
Now watch over here. You're gonna see them actually putting their passports down.
Right.
Watch this. See her passport, boom. Y'all think? Listen,
Yeah,
y'all be like,
okay.
Making fun of me, boo boo. Oh no, you lying? No,
okay,
right there,
we did make fun of you, but again, like I don't know if you heard it, but they said they're seeking political asylum.
So what does that mean?
That's legal. Like just like when I was talking about, this was before I let you up.
When no one knows who you are, and you put your passport on the side of the fucking thing. Excuse my language. I'm sorry. You put your passport.
I don't know how they go through the vetting system and stuff like that, but they would ask them questions or whatnot. Like, I don't know why they threw their passport. I really don't know. I can't answer
credit
that.
Card and passport.
But they're basically you see them line it up because they're trying to seek asylum. Like, if their reason is before a political whatever, say like somebody from North Korea comes, well, we know North Korea is not our friend, so they're escaping political. They're seeking political asylum because the way Jim Jong, the guy over there, their leader is. So yeah, that would be a reason. Just like domestic violence, drugs, war, all that would be their reason for coming over. Like that's legal for them to seek asylum.
All right, so we're gonna them like pay like 40 took 40 days to do this whole trip from China to like whatever.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to come to the United States?
Like she had money.
Was this trip expensive?
Well, they said some of them are middle class.
Man, look at her jacket. That don't like no damn broke ass Chinese person.
Yeah. She said it was, and that she sold her house to cover the $14,000 cost of her trip to the U.S.
$14,000. $14K. That ain't no broke.
Right. Well, that makes sense. Yeah. Thank you, Genesis, for that. Yeah, our relationship with China isn't good, so that makes sense. Like, okay, well, if they deny them, then it's pretty much nothing they can do because like China won't take them back. Wow, that was very eye-opening.
Yeah, so if you see that and then you see those farmlands, that's probably where maybe they all go there. I don't know where do they go?
They can't. Right, they see the plan. Yeah. Again, I'm gonna look at that article from the New York Post later and try to see about that, because I'm all like, okay, I just don't understand like who exactly. I know it's Chinese, but Chinese what is buying it? So I'll have to look at that later. You finished up strong, Genesis. Yeah. Let me put the comment up. But yeah, that's interesting. That well, they know, okay, I'll spend 40, what was it, 14,000 or 40,000 to come over here?
It was
Or go to
14,000.
Mexico. Yeah, 14,000 to go to Mexico.
It takes
And
40
then I'll
days.
come up in 40 days. I'll come up through the border because I know the US can't send me back because
I'll
yeah,
drop
we
my
ain't got a
passport off on
relationship.
the side and underneath the tree somewhere, and you won't know who I am, and then I guess you can't send me back to China. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is wild. Yeah.
So
And
that's
then they
what I
still didn't
thought.
really answer like what happens to the ones that don't get taken for asylum, like what happens to them. And then I didn't know, it's funny, it's not funny, it's probably racist, but every other race is like 14%, but Chinese, they're 55%. And I think that's where it comes with like, you know, Asians are looked at as like the model minority, like they're better than everybody else, and they're kind of like the whites of the minority. It goes deep, you know. But thank you for that video. That definitely something that I will look more into because I'm curious about that now.
Yeah, so that puts things into perspective. You know, we have the Asians coming in.
Oh no, they said I got struck.
What?
Oh wow. I wonder, will it do the thing where I come back or oh shit.
You got struck off that?
Wow.
Was it a strike or was it like a copyright? Like,
hold on, let me see on my phone. Damn it, Genesis, look what you did.
I'm sorry. Well, maybe I don't know.
It's probably a copyright claim or something like that. I wonder, will it come back? I've seen it where it comes back though. It's not gonna come back. Oh my god!
Did it like strike? Really?
They said Genesis. It don't even show on here. Hold on.
And did you get like an email saying, "Hey, stop showing it" or something?
No, I haven't got an email yet. Are we back, y'all? You back? Okay, we back. Okay, I'll go ahead and private this stream, and then I'll cut that part out. Okay, you see me? Okay, all right.
Well, the people that
we
got
was
to
at the end of the we was at the end of the show anyway, y'all.
Right. Whoever got to see it, those that know now. So like,
look, we done educated the people. But Genesis, I appreciate you coming up and us having a conversation. I really like conversation like these, so I really, appreciate, you ask me questions and we can feed off of each other. So, you taught me about the Chinese immigrants, and then you taught me about the whole BRICS thing. So, thank you for that.
For sure. What I'll try to do is that I'm gonna try to save the video so that you can still have it. Well, you have it on StreamYard, right?
Yeah, I have it on StreamYard. Yeah, I'm just gonna private it and then remove that part, and then whatchamacallit, put it back.
Yeah, because I mean that's crazy that they like struck that part. They might say share the copyright or share the thing.
Yeah, well, it's 60 minutes, so I should have known better, and I should have known that Genesis, you ain't shit, and you was gonna set me up. So
no, shit. No.
I started the show earlier saying that Genesis was gonna play me, and she played me, y'all. Didn't Genesis play me? Oh my god, how did I get every time? See, that's why I don't like messing with your ass, because you always trying to set me up and shit.
No.
Damn. Genesis strikes again. Yep.
Y'all get on my nerves.
All right, Genesis. Thank you for coming up. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you so much.
No problem. All right, y'all. Shit, I'm tired. I didn't even think that was going to be a long stream, but I like the conversation. And I haven't really been doing the political conversations. Not that I haven't been keeping up. I just think there's been like a lot going on and stuff like that. So, you know, and tomorrow I should say today, now that it is today, I don't know if I'm going to cover the vice president debate. I'll do a poll and see if you guys want me to cover Tim Walz versus JD Vance. We'll see what happens. I'm still going to watch it. I just don't know if I'm going to watch it with you guys or not. But anyway, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for being here. I love y'all. Please be safe. Please love one another. Please register to vote. Remember, www.vote.org. Please make sure you're registered. Please make sure you check out your local politics, all them propositions and everything like that, because that's what really matters. I love y'all. Be safe. Have a great night. Deuces, everybody.